Hello everyone and welcome back to the BlaiseXPerience once again. I am your host Derek as always, and today we have an episode. We're going back to We the Revolution Act 2. So I did a solo podcast on this fairly recently where we talked about Act 1 of the game and we talked about the base mechanics of the game. Today we're talking about Act 2, so this is probably going to be a fairly short episode in relation to other episodes, only because I'm mainly talking about the story for this episode, because honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of new mechanics in the game, so we're going to kind of spoil the story. So if you don't want to be spoiled on the story, then please head out after I end the news items here. But we'll talk about Act 2. I did stream this, so if you want to go check out my Mixer stream, it's still all there. And we will be doing Act 3 at some point, so there'll be at least one more podcast on We the Revolution in the future. I will do an Act 3 podcast in the future, and we will talk about the finale of this game. But some awesome things happen in Act 2, some big reveals, and we will get to those soon. But before we get to that, at the top of the show here, I do want to let everyone know that our next podcast, we will hopefully be going back to Dead by Daylight next week. It was supposed to be this week. I know I said last week at the podcast, but we had some scheduling conflicts come up, so I had to switch gears, and that's kind of where this episode fits in. So hopefully next week we'll have a Dead by Daylight type podcast, or maybe we'll have a State of Decay one. We'll figure it out. I will be talking about some game that we usually talk about here. And in terms of next week on stream, it's going to be all State of Decay. So I'm going to try and get all the clothing items because I still have a lot of clothing items left to get since I haven't had a lot of time to play since the update. And basically, we're going to have some special stream times this coming week because there was supposed to be a event going on for State of Decay. The event has now it's not as much an event now, but we're still trying to uphold the stream times that we were planning to do anyways. So basically, this event that was supposed to happen, it's no longer happening, but they scheduled me some times that they planned on me streaming, and I'm going to try and honor a couple of those times. So basically, for this week only, we're going to have some kind of weird stream times a little bit. So Sunday, we're going to have 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'll be streaming pretty early in the morning. So that'll be Sunday morning. Monday, they scheduled me 2 to 6, but I figured I might as well just start at my regular time and just go till 6. So Monday, we're going to have actually a longer stream. We're going to do 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. And then Tuesday, we will be back to our regular time on Tuesday. So Tuesday, we'll be doing 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. So that will be the case there. And so we're going to do those 3 streams. I will announce that, unfortunately, for the time being, there will be no more 4th stream of the week, just until I kind of get things, settled down a little bit more. Basically, I haven't been open with it on the podcast or on stream or even in the Discord yet. It's something that I haven't really told a lot of people about. It's been very closed doors kind of thing, pretty close to the vest. But I've been going through a lot in my personal life lately, and I'm going to take out the 4th stream just to kind of try and help alleviate some issues. You might have noticed that lately the episodes have been coming out on Sundays instead of Saturdays, or some of the streams have been late or cut early. So I've had things like that along the way in the past few months that you might have noticed that aren't really as consistent. I've tried to stay as consistent as possible, but unfortunately, there's been some things going on in my life, and I will officially announce for the first time that my wife and I will be getting divorced. So that's kind of what's been going on behind the scenes. So I would appreciate any support and your understanding during this. But that's basically, if you ever see I'm posting a podcast on a Sunday or I'm ending streams early, some of it is just because, I'm tired or sick that day or something like that, but this stress of going through this has been a big factor as well. So we aren't officially divorced yet, but the process is basically starting pretty much since June of this year. Things have kind of been going downhill more. So basically, that's kind of where things started to take more of a toll on me. And if you noticed it in my content, I definitely understand. I tried to hide it as best as I could because I didn't want that to affect anyone listening, or I didn't want anyone to be affected that is watching the stream or anything like that. But so yeah, that's just is what it is, and it sucks. And um, my daughter will still be taken care of. We're still working that out. We're still it's going to be a more amicable divorce, and we're just working out the details, but it still sucks, and it just is what it is. So hopefully you all will be understanding during this, and if I have to cancel some streams or something like that, then I hope you guys will understand. But for the time being, there will be no fourth stream. I will definitely be bringing the fourth stream back at some point. I just don't know when it's going to be, but probably expect for at least the next 4 weeks. We're probably not going to have a fourth stream for 4 weeks. And in the meantime with that, I'm going to try and work on something else that I want to work on for a personal thing, kind of that helps. I don't want to say too much yet because it is something that is sort of a project, but it's a project that will kind of calm me more. So that will make more sense when it kind of comes out. But basically, I'm going to use that extra time to just try to try to calm things down mentally and try to get a little bit more peace, basically. We will keep our Sunday, Monday, Tuesday streams 12 to 4, except for this next week. This next week's going to be different times, but so that'll be 9 to 1, 12 to 6, and 12 to 4 this next week. But other than that, we're going to keep Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll keep switching games every week kind of thing, and we'll have some fun with it. And the podcast will still keep running, so that's basically the only changes there is that, we're just going to lose one stream for a little while, and when things are kind of more situated, I will bring that fourth stream back. And, maybe by that time, maybe we'll grow a little bit. Maybe I can bring in a fifth stream, sometime close after that as well. But, thank you for your understanding, everyone. I do appreciate it. And thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. But that being said, we're not here to talk about my divorce or anything like that too much. So we're here to talk about some games, and let's get into that. So today we're talking about We the Revolution Act 2. Act 2 of this game was amazing. I really loved the story of this game, and it really had a huge twist that I was not expecting. Basically, if you remember at the end of Act 1, and this is your last spoiler warning, just so you can get out of here. So if you don't want to be spoiled on the story for We the Revolution, please get out now. I won't be offended, but I don't want anyone that doesn't want to be spoiled to be spoiled. So this is your last warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So at the end of We the Revolution Act 1, we obviously lost our youngest son. Our youngest son was hung, and we thought that we punished the right people for that, but actually we didn't punish the right people at all. So a lot more gets uncovered in the story as we go through this. And basically, the mechanics for Act 2 are pretty much the same, honestly. You have your trials, you have your quick trials, which are your little mini trials, you just decide something really fast. You have that. You have your political game board too, which, by the way, I did, I guess, win the political game board because I built my statue and I conquered the entire board, so I was happy about that. So before Act 2 ended, I did own the entire game board, and I did have my statue built, so that's pretty cool. You do get some more of the battle minigames too in Act 2. Act 1, it only happens once. It's basically like a little it brings you to the battlefield, and you have some troops, and you have to decide, okay, do you want to have a frontline assault? Do you want to have suppressive fire? Do you want to defend? You get to decide decisions like that, and honestly, I've played this little mini game 3 times now. I still don't exactly know how it works, but I think I've got the hang of it enough now to at least win it as much as possible. So, I did that, and I went through that. But the big reveal, the early point of Act 2 is that our mentor for the first act of the game, Raymond Deveillet, he is actually done something behind our back. Basically, our mentor, he actually gave the people that killed our son, he gave them the information that they needed to kill our son. And essentially, he didn't mean to, but he was kind of tricked into it and blackmailed. So basically what happens is the people behind this, they blackmail Devier. They basically tell him that his son deserted the military and that they're going to kill his son if he doesn't cooperate and give them all the information that he knows about us. And basically these people wanted information on us, that way they could kill our son pretty easily. So he gives up the information, but our mentor Devier, he doesn't know what they're going to do with the information. He just thinks that he's saving his son, and then afterwards we find out the real truth. And then he gets put on trial, and I executed him, honestly. I mean, like, I know he didn't mean to do it, but, like, he still got our son killed. Like, he still gave up the information. He still fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And I'm sorry, but I had to kill the guy, you know? So he went, he's axed. He's gone. So he is off the board. And then we kind of, start working with other people, and we kind of go throughout the political landscape, and we take down our rivals. But as we find out later, our rivals aren't really the main rival we should be concerned with. That there's a hidden rival that we didn't know about. So we have Georges Danton. He is one of our, I guess, big, I don't know if you call him, he is technically a rival. So yeah, going throughout the game board, we have, or it's not really game board, but like the political kind of hit list, I guess you'd say. You have, some of your allies are David, Henriot, Elliot. You obviously took down Patchy already, who is the mayor. You have Barat, the guy at the paper. I'm blanking on a couple of the names now, but you have Robespierre, who's obviously at the top of the food chain. You have Danton and Renard. And you do discover that Renard was the main guy that was behind your son's death, and he kind of plotted all along. But you try to use Danton and... See, I'm blanking on the guy's name, because there's Danton and one other guy that you try to use to work against Robespierre, to take down Robespierre. And basically, you can either choose to have a trial with Danton or this other person. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. I do apologize, but it's gonna really kick me when I remember what it is. But the other guy that you didn't, so basically you, Danton, and this other person are trying to work against Robespierre, and basically in doing so, you actually all get kind of found out. Robespierre tries to, work against you, and basically Danton and the other person get arrested, and you have the choice to try one of them at your personal court, and the other one, it said that they're probably going to die because the other judge, wants to kill people, or not kill people, but like they're pretty strict and stuff like that. So, and basically, I chose to try Danton, and the idea is that we would let Danton go because he's supposed to be our ally, but I mean, he was never really that much of an ally to me. Like, he was a pretty bad guy, I thought. And basically, I axed Danton. So, off with his head Danton. I killed Danton. Danton was no more. And then after that, you actually find out that Henriot, who betrayed you, he has escaped. And basically, Henriot is a guy that was on your side pretty much the whole time, but then he started working with Robespierre, and he has escaped. So you have to take down Henriot, and that's where you have another one of these like little, I guess, military mini games where you have to have your troops and stuff, and you basically have to win this because if you don't win this, then you're dead. If you do win it, then basically Henriot is dead and eliminated. But throughout this whole thing, you're actually doing an intrigue against Robespierre, and during this intrigue, you have to try and get successes to take him down, basically, and take down his political influence. And you have kind of succeeded in that because people start to not really believe in Robespierre as much, so it kind of works in your favor. So basically, at this point, Danton is out of the picture. Basically, no one's above you. I think it's basically just Renard and Robespierre above you at this point. And Marat, but I think Marat, yeah, I think at this point, though, Marat was kind of dealt with somehow. Oh, that comes later. I'm thinking of something later. Okay. Basically, at this point, you have to have a trial against Robespierre, and you get to take down Robespierre finally. So, the incorruptible Robespierre, you did work against him, you did corrupt him, and bam, Robespierre is down. And then on the game board, you have Renard, Marat are the only people ahead of you at that point. Well, I keep saying game board, the political landscape, I guess I call it, but to me it's a game board because to me, like, it's this ladder you're trying to climb the entire time. You're trying to take down your rivals, and basically you have Renard, Marat, and that's it at this point ahead of you. But you actually get, before this happens, Renard basically pulls you aside in a sort of gambling dungeon type thing, and he sort of tells you, hey, yeah, it was me, dude, but if you don't work with me, then I won't tell you who's actually also responsible for this. And basically, you have to reluctantly work with Renard for a bit, even though you obviously don't want to, but you want to try and get the information that he has. And after Robespierre is dead, it does finally come out. The big reveal happens of the game. So, of course, the big reveal is that the person behind all of this, the entire game so far, is actually our brother, Bruno Fidel. This is the same brother that all through Act 1, we're told about how it's so tragic that, he died in the war, he got killed, he got sent off for trying to defend our family, but he actually was never dead. Bruno was alive the whole time, and the entire time he was working against us. So basically, in Bruno's mind, he tried to defend his family, and his family abandoned him. And he kind of feels abandoned by his family, so he deserted the army. And then he, all this time, worked with people that were exiled from France. And he basically got them all together, and they tried to infiltrate the political system and take it down from the inside. And as our brother says to us, we basically did his dirty work for him because every rival that could have stood up to him, we took them all down because the only one left is Renard, and Renard was working for him the whole time. So Renard was in his pocket, and everyone else that could stand up to him, Danton, Robespierre, everybody, we took them all down. All of them were taken down by us. So we played right into his hand the entire time, and it's just such a huge reveal, and it makes the game so much fun. And basically, we immediately have to try and save our older son's hands because we have to play a game of dice with our older brother to save our older son's hands. If you play 2 games of dice, 1 for each of his hands, because basically our older brother lost a hand and he wants to kind of get retribution. And I actually won the first game of dice, but then I lost the second game, so our brother cuts off the hand of our son. So not only was he responsible for the death of our younger son, now our older son has only 1 hand because our brother chopped off his hand. And basically our brother is hell-bent on seeing us fall from grace, because he wants to get back at our father, too, for abandoning him. So basically he wants to take us down and smear us. So then he tries to reveal all the stuff that we've done all throughout the game to take down all these rivals. He sends that over to Marat, I believe, who Marat is, editor for the newspaper. And basically, he tries to get us framed, and that starts to happen. But then Marat is actually killed before he could, smear us too much. But he had already done enough work that, people kind of are grumbling about us. People kind of know who we are, and we're on the defensive, basically. So, there's no more rivals, really. It's basically just our brother, and I guess Renard's kind of working for him on the side. But basically, we are kind of becoming public enemy a little bit because everyone kind of knows what we did now. Everyone knows who we are, and we're kind of starting to fall from grace. But then, actually, at the very end of Act 2, it's really cool because this African-American general, he comes up to us and he's like, hey, make me the general of your army and we will all fight for you and I'll get all of France to fight behind you. And basically we're trying to tell him, but why would you guys do that? Like, you guys all think I'm a monster. And basically, this African American, general in the army, he basically says, like, hey, I mean, you're the monster we know. It takes somebody like you to actually defeat a guy like this. So basically, it's kind of like, better the enemy you know than the enemy you don't know kind of thing. Because basically, people are rallying behind us at this point because they're telling us that it's going to take a monster in order to kill, like, or defeat our brother. And they say, like, that you're basically the only person that can actually get this job done because you're the only person that was twisted enough to do what you did, and we need somebody like that to actually take your brother down. Because if it's not you, then no one can really take him down. So it's kind of like a backhanded compliment in a way, because basically people are pretty much telling us, like, hey, you suck, we hate you, like, you're a horrible person, but you're the only horrible person that can actually get this job done. So we'll rally behind you, but just know that we still don't trust you really, maybe, but we trust you enough to get this job done to defeat your brother. So we'll rally behind you to save France. So that's kind of where things stand. And so basically, we're not looked at as the best person at the end of Act 2, but we have, people standing behind us because they want us to help France survive, pretty much. So it's really interesting. It's a really weird turn of events, but I never expected that our brother would have been alive like that. And it's crazy to think about, but the whole time he's alive and the whole time he's working against us. And I have not played Act 3 yet, so I don't know how the story ends, but I'm really, really hoping to see the end of the story soon. And I think what I'm going to do is have like a one stream to end Act 3. So we'll make it like maybe an 8-hour stream or however long it takes to end Act 3. We're going to make it like a one stream thing, just end Act 3, as a kind of like party. And I know this isn't a game that everyone's been excited about, but I'm personally really excited about this game, and I've really, really been loving this game. Like, I love this story so much. I love the mechanics. The mechanics are awesome, and I've really been loving this game. So, hopefully, people will want to jump in and check that out with me. But that's basically Act 2. So, that's Act 2 of We the Revolution. And again, I know this is a pretty short episode. This is probably, out of 102 episodes, this is probably going to be one of the top 5 shortest episodes, but I did have my guest, some scheduling conflicts with my guest for the Dead by Daylight episode, so I had to switch topics last minute. Plus, I have everything going on in my personal life, so hopefully everyone understands why this is a little bit short of an episode. But this is kind of like the last minute, fill-in episode that I could get through here, because I wanted to still have an episode for you guys, but this is basically the best thing I could come up with on short notice, because a State of Decay episode, that's not something I can really do on short notice, because I would like to research that and stuff like that. But this is something I didn't really need to research. This is something I just talk about my feelings on what happened and how the game kind of progressed. And I'm really loving this game, and I'm really, really enjoying everything so far. So I can't wait to get into Act 3, because Act 3, basically, we're at the end of Act 2, is that our brother army is arriving at the gates, pretty much, and we have our army, led by our African American general, and we're going to, go toe to toe with our brother. So I'm thinking that the Act 3 might be a little bit different how it plays, so we'll kind of find out. But basically, Act 1 was 22 days, Act 2 is 18 days, and Act 3 is actually even shorter. It's 10 to 12 days. So that's why I say we can probably finish Act 3 with one stream. So probably like a 6 to 8 hour stream will finish all of Act 3. So I can't wait to do that, and I will announce that in the Discord, how you guys can find that. But speaking of the Discord, that will be in the show notes. If you want to contact me any other way, you can contact me via email, theblaisexperience@gmail.com. You can contact me via my Xbox Live gamertag or Twitter at BlaiseXPerience. That's capital B, L-A-I-S-E, capital X-P-E-R-I-E-N-C-E. You can always find me on YouTube as well, or Facebook. And beyond that, if you're listening to the episode, you already know how to listen to it, obviously, but other ways you might not have known about, it's on Stitcher, it's on Spotify, it's on Google Podcasts, iTunes, which if you do listen on iTunes, I would definitely appreciate your 5-star reviews, because your 5-star reviews do help other people find the show, and it helps the podcast grow. So I'd really appreciate some 5-star reviews on there. But Other than that, if you don't like to have apps, we are listed basically everywhere. If you want, just type into Google the Blaise XPerience, then you will find us. But if you don't want to use any kind of app at all, then you can jump in my Discord. In my Discord, there's a channel called Direct Download Links, and using those links, you can directly download any episode you want, all 102 episodes, even the bonus episodes that aren't technically listed as numbers. So you can download any episode you want, and have at it. Basically, it'll just download directly to your device without you ever needing it. But I do appreciate you all listening. Just to reiterate, our next podcast is probably going to be the Dead by Daylight episode I wanted to do this week, but if not, we will find something else for next week. So I just got to try and coordinate with our guests there. And our next stream is going to be 9 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, so 9 to 1 on Sunday. On Monday, it's going to be 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Tuesday, 12 to 4 Eastern. And I will remind everyone that going forward for the time being, we will have no more fourth stream of the week. So the last fourth stream of the week will be, last Friday, basically. So yesterday, when you're hearing this. And that'll be for 4 weeks, maybe, we'll see. But just until I get things kind of situated more. Because as I said at the beginning of the show, I am going through divorce now, and it's definitely causing more stress and stuff like that. So I hope everyone understands that. But we will be cutting out one stream of the week for now. If I have to cut out more in the future, I will let everyone know before I do that. But that's kind of where we're at right now. But I'd appreciate all your support, and if anyone wants to, send me any messages of support, during this time, I would definitely appreciate it. It definitely wouldn't fall on deaf ears. So if you want to shoot me an email, anything like that, I would definitely appreciate it. But otherwise, hopefully you're all having a great day, and I really appreciate you being here. So thank you for listening to the Blaise XPerience.